Modern economic systems depend on information before they depend on decisions. Activity unfolds across roles, locations, and moments without a single shared view. What occurs in reality cannot move through the system in its original form. It must first be expressed. Signals emerge as prices, reports, schedules, and recorded measures. These forms compress activity, so it can travel across distance and time. As information accumulates, attention does not scale at the same rate. Processing capacity remains limited, even as signal volume increases. Selection becomes structural. Only certain signals enter review, while others remain unexamined. Categories, thresholds, and reporting paths shape what is seen. Decisions form within these boundaries. They reflect the information that survives selection, not the total conditions present. Limits appear where representation ends and reality continues. Selection does not occur randomly. It is built into structure. Information moves through defined paths rather than open space. Reports are summarized, metrics are aggregated, and signals are routed through formal channels. Each step reduces scope. Detail is removed to preserve manageability, and variation is compressed into stable categories. This compression enables scale, but it also fixes perspective. What enters dashboards or approval lines becomes legible to the system. What remains outside retains existence, but loses formal weight. Attention is allocated according to position, timing, and procedural design. Review occurs where capacity is assigned, not where complexity is greatest. Over time, the same selection rules produce the same visibility. Decisions repeat not because conditions are unchanged, but because representation is. Consistency becomes necessary once information is used to compare activity across time. Signals gain value when they remain stable, allowing records to align from one period to the next. New inputs are therefore processed through existing categories rather than creating new ones. This maintains continuity within the system. Measures persist because they preserve comparability even when conditions change. Altering a category interrupts accumulated records and weakens coordination. As a result, representation favors durability. Attention follows what fits established formats, while signals that resist classification are postponed. Decisions remain aligned within the system's internal logic, even as surrounding conditions shift. Limits form where stability is protected and variation is set aside. Records introduce time into decision processes. Information is captured at specific moments, then carried forward as reference. This allows coordination without simultaneity. Work may be completed before it is reviewed, and review may occur after conditions have shifted. Recorded signals hold their form across this separation. They preserve expression even when context changes. As records accumulate, decisions increasingly depend on what remains legible within stored formats. The present is interpreted through documented past states rather than direct observation of current conditions. This substitution supports continuity. Activity can proceed without constant alignment because reference points remain fixed. Delay becomes manageable when representation persists. Accumulation replaces immediacy. Limits appear where timing differences widen, and current variation has not yet entered the record. As accumulated records become the primary reference, attention reorganizes around them. Review capacity aligns with what is already documented because stored expression can be processed repeatedly. Signals that match existing formats move efficiently through review paths. They require no reinterpretation. Signals that fall outside these formats remain present but await translation. This delay does not reflect error. It reflects how systems preserve capacity. Attention is conserved by limiting scope, not by increasing sensitivity. Expansion would overwhelm processing, while restriction maintains continuity. Decision procedures remain stable because reference points do not shift with each variation. Change gains influence only when it becomes recordable and compatible with established representation. Until then, variation exists without formal effect. Limits persist where attention is stabilized and expression remains incomplete. When conditions change rapidly, this structure responds slowly. Attention remains anchored to existing records because stability protects coordination. Abrupt variation does not immediately alter decisions, since it has not yet entered the representational frame. This delay reduces volatility. Systems avoid constant revision by absorbing change gradually, rather than reacting instantly. Recorded reference points continue to guide review until replacement becomes possible. Transition requires alignment, not speed. New expressions must connect with prior records, or comparison fails. During this interval, decisions reflect stored conditions, not emerging ones. This does not imply misjudgment. It reflects how continuity is preserved under constraint. Responsiveness is limited so coherence can be maintained. These limits do not signal failure. They describe how large systems remain operable under constraint. Information cannot be complete, attention cannot be unlimited, and decisions cannot reflect all conditions at once. systems persist by narrowing representation, stabilizing reference, and accepting delay. What is excluded is not denied existence, but postponed in influence. What is included gains authority through consistency, not immediacy. Decision limits emerge where coordination is protected. They prevent collapse by reducing sensitivity and by maintaining shared frames over time. Stability is produced through restraint. Understanding these limits does not remove them. It clarifies why decisions appear bounded, why change enters slowly, and why coherence is preserved despite complexity. Information, attention, and decision capacity form a single structure. Each constrains the others. Together, they define how systems continue to function.